Well, hello, my friends. I am here with Sheila Hansen. She's the Operations Administrator, Trek Up the Tower Race Director, and we're talking about the Wellbeing Partners. So Sheila, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
So I have to say that this is one of my favorite events. I've done it many times. It's very challenging, but I like a challenge. And it's just a great, there's so many pieces to this event that make it just really special and so unique. So let's just dive right in to Trek Up the Tower. But before we go there, let's just talk about the Wellbeing Partners for just a moment.
Absolutely.
And what is the organization? Kind of just give us an overview, and then we'll talk about Trek Up the Tower.
Perfect. Yeah. The Wellbeing Partners is a local nonprofit that works to build well-being into the way that our communities and businesses grow through advocacy, collaboration, and education. So our goal really is to work with businesses and work with community organizations to facilitate different well-being programs in their workplaces, in the communities, because we know that those community members make up those workplaces.
Yeah.
So we're really trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, even now, I think more so than ever, having that well-being piece into any business, whether you're small or large, is so important for your employees and staff and team members, to just have that's a continual piece that we kind of we forget about that. And being a business owner and making sure that, hey, we've got things available for those working for us. It's just, yeah, it's so important. So thank you.
Absolutely. And it's so easy to forget that, you know, that those aren't two separate things to worry about. It's becoming easier to remember now that so many of us are working from home or doing a hybrid work schedule, but still we can fall into that trap sometimes of I have my work and I have my home, and you know, I think workplaces can fall into that trap of the things that their employees are dealing with at home. Don't impact their work, and it really does.
And then we just get busy. I mean, we're busy. We're just busy with work, and so what your organization does, I'm just so grateful for everything that you guys do. And one of the things is Trek Up the Tower. So let's talk about this. This has been going on for years. And so, yeah, give us the overview.
Yeah, we have been going for 17 years now, in fact. This is our 17th year, started back in 2006. And, you know, what a great way to get your workforce and your community connected. We have a ton of different teams, a bunch of organizations have employees that come together on a Saturday morning to walk up the First National Bank Tower. And it really is such a wonderful community and social event, as well as a physical well-being event. A vast majority of the participants are on some sort of team, whether that's a workplace team or just a group of friends or neighbors. I think it's somewhere around 75% of our participants are on some kind of team. So it is a really, really cool community building event. Yeah.
And this year it is on February 18th. Which is a Saturday, right? I'm trying to, it's a Saturday. And I also want to say, was last year virtual, or the year before, or the last 2 years?
Okay. Yep. We'd managed to get 2020 event in February before we all had to go home.
Yes.
But 2021 and 2022 were virtual. And so we are very, very glad to be back this year at the First National Bank Tower. Really excited to see everyone again in person. We do still have a virtual component this year, which is a little bit different because we had some folks, especially from corporations that have a bunch of remote workers now, may have people in other states who can't make the trip. And so starting on the day of the in-person event, February 18th through March 18th, they can have a virtual team going for a challenge and kind of involve those folks as well.
So remind me, how many steps are we?
It's 870.
Okay, 870. And again, I've done this several times, and it is a challenge, but it's just, again, it's a great challenge. And I know every year you have a different theme which
do.
is always really fun. So what is this year's theme?
This year is Intergalactrek Journey. So it is space themed. It's super fun. We're really excited. Bozell did a great job with our design again this year. We're really excited to share it with everyone.
And if I recall correctly, I know in the past, I mean, I think participants, you get t-shirts, I mean, you get different things, but you're also, are people like encouraged to just kind of dress up?
Oh, absolutely. We love when people come in costume.
Yeah.
We're excited to see what everyone comes up with this year. I know in 2020, when we were back in person, it was video game themed. So we had a bunch of Marios running around. We had a couple Luigis. We had all kinds of different folks who dressed up. I know a lot of the teams like to get together and put together a team shirt that's something to do with the theme. And then, of course, all of our participants will get their event t-shirt that has the fun theming on it. And that has, several of them have shared with me that they have the t-shirts going back all 17 years. And it is a goal to pick up each new t-shirt.
Yeah, I guess I have not gone back all 17 years. I can't say that I've done that, but it's been the last maybe 5 or 6 years. And so I know, okay, so just kind of going from memory, I know that you sign up at different times. So there's times throughout, I can't remember, is it a 2 or 3 hour time span, or maybe more than that, where you go in and register and then you pick a time?
Yes, so we kick off the event about 6:45 with our first responders, so our firefighters and policemen.
Yeah.
And then our general participants kick off at about 7. And then we are running every 15 minutes. There's a new check-in time until about 11 o'clock. So depending on how early you want to get up, there are options.
Exactly. And I think that's great, because I completely forgot about that. Your first responders, those folks go up first, and it's literally, first of all, we do it, and we honor them, because that's what they have to do in their job.
Yep, and the firefighters generally go up in full gear, and it is a really, really cool thing to see them all. We kick off our event with them all down in the main lobby, and do our announcements and our welcome, and really honor them as they get ready to kick us off and make that run. And it's a fun thing for them too. They get competitive with the other departments, and it's a neat opportunity for them to show off their abilities in a really fun atmosphere.
And do you also have people, I mean, I know the few times, excuse me, that I've been there, that there are people that come out to this event that aren't the first responders, but they're there to like win.
Oh, yes.
And
we have
the fastest time.
Yes, we have some very competitive participants. I think the record time was set back in 2013, I believe. Okay. Ivan Marsh.
Yes.
Yep. He ran the 40 floors in 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
That is insane, because I will tell you, when I've done this in the past, it really is. And I also encourage people, it's not, if you want to go up quickly, A-okay. I would go up a few floors, and then I would kind of stop and take a few deep breaths, and then I would go up some more, and just really enjoy the journey up the trek, and knowing that, you're doing it for your well-being. And then also, is this raising funds? Tell me that piece. Is it raising funds or awareness, or?
Yes, absolutely. I do just want to touch on the fact that you mentioned it is for people of all fitness levels. We have the folks who want to try to beat that record, and who want to go for the vertical mile and run the tower multiple times. But then we have people who are just there for their own personal goals, who just want to say they did it, or just want to beat their personal time from the last couple of years, who take it slow and steady, stop at the water stations on the way up. It does not have to be a super competitive event if you don't want it to be. But yes, the goal of this event is to help raise funds for the Wellbeing Partners, and to support our mission in building well-being into our businesses and community. It helps support a bunch of our different programming, like the project management we do with the medical respite program through Sienna Francis House and Charles Drew Health Center. It helps fund our mental health well-being campaign, What Makes Us, and a bunch of other like our parenting workshops for caregivers in the workplace. So it really does help promote all of our different well-being programming.
And I will say, people can go to your website, the Wellbeing Partners website, because there's so much information on everything that you do and how to get involved with what you do and how businesses can get involved in different levels of engagement. So there's a lot
Absolutely.
of
We're
great.
always willing to connect with anyone and help figure out how we can best partner. I mean, there's a reason partner is in our name. That's really what we're here to do. We want to work with organizations and work with businesses and figure out how best we can connect them to resources to fit into our programming of
Sure.
well-being.
So I'm going to ask you something. So how do you talk to people like training? I mean, should people train, or should, what? I'm just curious. Again, like you said, not doing a sprinting, but I know I actually went someplace and started walking up steps about a month before, just so I was used to walking up steps. But thoughts or ideas or on that?
Absolutely. I would say I would never discourage any amount of training that folks want to do. As you said, it is challenging. Walking stairs, and certainly walking that many stairs in succession, is not something we do on a day-to-day basis for the most part. And so any amount of walking or extra stairs that you can do in preparation is always going to be a good thing. But the nice thing about Trek is that it is sort of at your own personal pace. So if you haven't had a chance to do any extra training, it's not going to be the end of all things.
No, it's not. So, but I will say I did walk up. I think I just went to the gym and there were stairs going up and down from one level to the next. And so I spent a few times just going up and down the steps just to kind of get my legs a little used to that. But again, at your own pace. And then I will say, once you get to the top, you do take the elevator back down.
Yes.
You get to take the elevator back down. So
yes, you do get to take the elevator back down. There is an opportunity. Once you get to the 40th floor, you'll get your medal of completion for the event. We've got water up there, towels, so that you can, wipe the sweat off your brow. And then they are wonderful enough to set up a sort of cool down circle up on the 40th floor. So you have a chance to kind of reset, relax, and take in the view from the 40th floor, which is really impressive. I mean, you're 630 feet in the air above downtown Omaha. So it's nice to be able to take a moment, celebrate your achievement, and be able to look at that view.
Yeah. And one thing I will also mention too, just as I've done this in the past, everybody is so encouraging. I mean, people coming up, and whether you're passing them or they're passing you, there's this camaraderie and there's this encouragement from everybody. It truly is. It's just a great community event. So let's talk about registration and all that good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And I love what you said about the community building, because it really is true. Even the folks who come out to run that vertical mile, who are going for that record, I have seen many of them stop and congratulate, everyone who's made it on their way up, whether it took them 10 minutes or 20. It's really is a great, like you said, community atmosphere, celebratory of your achievement, whatever level that may be. So if you want to join that community and register, we do have our website, trekupthetower.org, has all of the information about the event. The registration forms are all there for both participation, or if you're not quite ready to make that trek up that tower, we also encourage folks to volunteer to help out with the event. We always need more folks to hand out t-shirts, or work in the kitchen to hand out food, help run check-in or gear check, and be part of that atmosphere and be part of that celebration. If maybe you aren't quite ready to take that many steps. Or if you want to do both, we welcome that too. If you volunteer, you do get a discount to your registration if you would like to walk the event as well.
Well, Sheila, thank you so much for joining me today. A lot of information here, and again, go to the website. And I encourage you. I mean, I'm a slow goer, so I just took my time going up, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And again, when you get up at the top, you've just accomplished something really fantastic. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's always great to talk to you and to talk about this event. Appreciate it.
All right, folks, go to the website, and I hope to see you there on February 18th. And we'll be right back. Well, hello, my friends. I'm excited to be here with Erin Marr. She is a campaign development manager, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And we're talking about the 2023 Nebraska Visionaries of the Year. Erin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Andy.
So we talked a couple weeks ago, and you were filling me in on so many exciting things. There's some new things with what's happening with this campaign. So let's talk a little bit about that. Visionaries of the Year it's a new title. So yeah, I'll just kind of let you take it away.
It is a new title. Previously, it had been Man and Woman of the Year, and this is the first year that it's being introduced now as Visionaries of the Year, which instead of having a Man of the Year and a Woman of the Year, we will have a fundraiser who becomes the Visionary of the Year for Nebraska.
And let's just talk about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society as a whole, because this does raise funds. So let's really go there first and talk about what is it. And I mean, it's the organization has been around for a long time. And talk about the organization in itself.
So the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we have been around since 1949, and we have been it's really part to help patients and their families when they are diagnosed with the blood cancer or someone they love is diagnosed with the blood cancer. And our mission is to try and find cures and treatment, and also just increase the value of patients and their families and their overall well-being as they're going through the battle. I personally had a connection to leukemia. My brother's been battling leukemia. And because of that, when we went to his doctor the first time and I mentioned Googling things, he said, don't Google, go to the Leukemia and Lymphoma site because LLS has accurate information and can actually give you accurate information as you're going through the process. So that is our primary focus. And our fundraising campaigns, the two we have, Light the Night and Visionaries of the Year, are our two main fundraising campaigns for getting funds into the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for research and patient education and support.
Yeah. And I think Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we can talk about, say, LLS,
Yeah.
because it is a mouthful, but it's so important. And again, having that personal connection, I just know that that really impacts people, and being able to speak from that experience. And how's your brother doing?
He's doing very well. He had a stem cell transplant, and it has been nearly a year, and he's doing really well.
Okay. Because a lot of times, this hits families and people, and it can, things just happen very quickly. Again, I've not been in that situation, but talking to people that have been, that have somebody close to them.
Yeah. And actually the reality is nobody schedules getting cancer.
No.
And so when you're diagnosed with any type of cancer, it is a gut punch. And the first thing you're trying to do is find out everything you can. And that's what makes me proud to work for LLS, because of the accurate information and the fact that we're constantly trying to find treatments and cures.
Yeah. Well, let's go. So let's talk about this event, because I've been involved in this event from a sponsorship and also just from reporting on it and whatnot. There's a campaign start that it's 10 weeks. But before we get into that, I want to talk about who is the candidate, because you are out and reaching out to members of the community, and asking them to be a part of this, or nominating them. People are nominating others to be a part of this, because it's an important role. Like, these people are top-notch individuals in the community.
Right. We talk about it just being a philanthropic competition for leaders in the community, and really the state of Nebraska, because we reach all the way across the state. But Lincoln and Omaha are where we've seen the main base of our candidates in recent years. And looking for candidate, we want somebody who's connected, believes in, philanthropy runs deep in them, and something that they want to do to help out with an organization. We've had very successful candidates who did not have a connection to blood cancer when they started their campaign. And by the end of the campaign, they had met people who had lost loved ones or had loved ones battling. And it's just amazing how, when you start to talk about what LLS does and what the campaign is, you start talking to people who suddenly are telling you a story that you had no idea about previously.
Yeah. And again, because now it's a visionary of the year, man, woman, tell us what kind of, what's the commitment to be a part of this?
So we have candidates that are nominated, but then those candidates form teams. And it's really the candidate team that goes out and shares the mission, shares what they're doing. They have fundraisers. We have seen a lot of fun in the fundraising that people do, the various golf tournaments, and they've had guest bartending and all sorts of different events, for people to do virtual. I did a virtual travel night. I was actually a candidate myself in 2021, and that's how I ended up here at LLS. And continuing to raise funds. But those we're getting back, thankfully. 2020 and 2021 were a lot of virtual. And so we're finally starting to see in 2022, being able to get back out and have live in-person events, and having your candidate team and team members for those 10 weeks. It's really helpful to kind of just get through it, have fun doing it. And then at the end, we have a big celebration. So on Friday, June 9th, we'll have our grand finale celebration.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I've been to many of the events that the candidates, the folks that are in part of this have been, and it's been so much fun. So the 10-week campaign starts when?
It starts on Monday, March 27th.
Okay.
And that is the first day that candidates can start fundraising. We do have a candidate workshop in February, so it gives people the chance to kind of learn what they can do in the campaign, hear from former candidates. And then once we kick off on the 27th, it goes until Friday, June 9th. And that's when we have the grand finale. And it really is, it's a ball. And literally, so it's a lot of fun. And it's that end where you just go, oh my gosh. I think the biggest thing for candidates is you get to that 10 weeks and you look back at it and you just are amazed by what you've done. And the feeling at the end of the campaign is amazing.
Well, let's talk about the grand finale. Like you said, on June 9th. I've been to the grand finale many times as well. And it's I remember wearing a beautiful ball gown to it. It's a celebration of what everybody has done and for the organization itself.
Well, it truly is. And throughout the 10 weeks, we're honoring local heroes who are cancer survivors. And one of the big differences, too, between man and woman and now visionaries is we used to have a boy and girl of the year, and now we have a pediatric honored hero as well as an adult honored hero. And so Lily is 7 years old, and she is battling acute myeloid leukemia. And she is in remission and doing well. And then our adult honored hero's name is Vince, and he is an amazing survivor as well. He's back at work in the armed forces and actually currently deployed. So he'll be joining us remotely. But that's when you look at why we're doing this and you see those people who are truly affected by blood cancer and their families and what they've gone through. It definitely helps candidates to realize, why we're all doing this.
Yeah. And having this interview with you, like I said, we talked a couple weeks ago, and also being a sponsor of this event, but having this conversation with you is reaching out to the community and saying, hey, are you a candidate? Do you know somebody that you can nominate, or is it you? Because you take so many people, but it really is just like you said, a passion with philanthropy, and whether you have a personal association with the disease, or again, the awareness and the education a
Yeah.
person can bring to the community is just huge.
It really is, because one conversation I had resulted in somebody who had actually moved out of state, but 2 weeks later, I got a phone call and said that one of their coworkers' husbands had been diagnosed. And through that conversation, she knew to reach out to me. I was able to get her in touch with our patient team. And then they were able to get all the information that they needed as they started their whole journey through the blood cancer treatment.
Do you know, and this is something that we hadn't talked about prior, but do you know like how many people are impacted? I mean, I think it's more than you even realize that.
Yes, there are millions of people that are living with a blood cancer or have passed from a blood cancer. But the startling fact for me is that every 3 minutes, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's just that, you know, to me, that just is mind blowing. And again, having that awareness out there and also being able to raise funds for more research and for treatments and whatnot is just so important. So how can somebody, okay, if somebody, whoever's watching this and they want to nominate somebody, how do they do that?
They can send me an email. My email is just erin.mar@lls.org. It's very easy. Send me an email and I will reach out and schedule a call and we can talk through the whole nomination process. But I would love to hear from people who want to nominate somebody, want to be a candidate themselves, or want to make a difference, because the more people that we reach, the closer we're going to get to a cure.
And who were the winners last year?
So last year we had Rob Randalls with Northwestern Mutual and Jacqueline Oltmans, who is with Social, and they are also opening a new establishment downtown soon in Omaha.
Yeah, I remember I wasn't able to actually. Did you have the event in person? Because I know there was
last year's in person. Yes.
Yeah, but I remember reading about those two individuals. So how can people above and beyond this event get involved with LLS?
Really, they can reach out to me as well. We also have Light the Night, which is an amazing event we have in the fall. And Light the Night it's a outdoor walk that we do in Omaha, and it's great. It's an opportunity for people to volunteer there if they want, just join the walk and celebrate people who are survivors and also remember people who have passed. And it's just it's a really neat walk to be able to be a part of, and we need volunteers year round. And so anybody who is interested in that can reach out to me with that as well.
Yeah, I've done that walk many times. It's so impactful and it truly is a magical evening. So do you have a date for that in 2023 yet?
I believe we have the date scheduled. I can't say for sure. I think it's September 28th.
Okay,
but
we'll be sure to post it.
Yeah, I can definitely get that confirmed.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Erin, we literally have like 30 seconds now. I'm just looking at the time. We've talked about so many things. Just 30 seconds. What are your final words?
Well, I think the final thing I would say is that this is such a fun campaign. It is 10 weeks, but amazing things happen during those 10 weeks. And for anybody who knows someone who might be a great candidate or feels even pulled a little bit to do this, call me and let's talk about it. And I would love to hear from people.
Yeah. Erin, thank you so much for joining me today. And we will continue to get the word out. Again, this is a great event, encouraging all of you watching this to either consider nominating somebody or look at yourself, and for such a great cause. So Erin, thank you so much.
Thank you.